Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Ruby and today we are back with another very interesting theory in educational psychology, which is the dynamic theory of intelligence developed by two incredible researchers, Joseph Campione and Anne Brown, who explored how biology and our environment shape our intelligence and learning. So in today's video, we will understand in most simple words about Campione and Brown, their dynamic theory of intelligence, and the main components of this theory, which are architectural, which is also called biological, and executive, which is also called environmental. Finally, we will discuss the educational implications and see how this theory can be applied in educational setting. Now, before getting into the theory, let us get to know the psychologist behind it. Joseph Campione was a highly influential figure in the field of educational psychology. Born in 1940, Campione's work focused on how we develop and improve our learning abilities, especially in children. His early career was shaped by his interest in cognitive development, specifically how individuals process information, solve problems, and learn over time. He believed that cognitive skills could be trained and improved, which laid the foundation for his collaboration with Anne Brown. Campione was also a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, where he worked on projects related to instructional designs and educational strategies that could enhance students' learning. His approach emphasized that learning is not static and that intelligence can be nurtured through the right cognitive strategies. Now, Anne Brown was a British-American psychologist born in 1943 who made significant contributions to the field of developmental psychology and education. She is most renowned for her research on metacognition, the ability to think about one's own thinking. Brown's research focused on how children learn, particularly in educational settings, and she developed techniques to help students become more aware of their own learning processes. Brown believed that students could greatly benefit from being taught how to reflect on their own learning and adjust their strategies accordingly. This idea became central to her collaboration with Campione. Together, they worked on ways to make learning more effective by focusing on both the cognitive abilities and the strategies students use to improve their intellectual skills. In the late 1970s, Campione and Brown teamed up to develop their dynamic theory of intelligence, combining their interests in cognitive development and learning strategies. Their joint work focused on understanding how biological and environmental factors interact to shape intelligence, leading to groundbreaking insights that change how psychologists and educators approach learning and intelligence. Now, let us dive into the heart of the theory. Campione and Brown's theory of intelligence suggests that our intelligence is made up of two key systems. One is influenced by biology and the other by our environment. These systems work together to shape how we think, solve problems, and process information. The theory is structured around two main components, the architectural system and the executive system. The first system is called the architectural system. Think of this system as the foundation or hardware of your brain. It is the part that is built in right from birth. This includes your brain's capacity for memory, the speed at which you can process information, and how quickly you might lose certain memories over time. For example, let's imagine you are learning a new language. How fast you pick up vocabulary, how much you can store in your short-term memory, and your basic problem-solving skills are all part of the architectural system. These are the mental abilities that we are born with. They don't change much based on your education or training. In simple terms, think of the architectural system like the framework of a house. It is built into you biologically, and it determines the structure of how your mind processes things like memory and information. Now, let us move on to the executive system, which is where learning and experience come into play. This system can be compared to the software of a computer, which can be updated and improved over time based on what you learn and how you apply that knowledge. The executive system includes things like cognitive schemas. These are patterns of thought that helps you organize information. It also involves your metacognitive skills, which means being aware of how you're learning and thinking. For example, have you ever noticed that one study method isn't always working for you, and then you switch it up and try something else? That's your executive system in action. So now, how these two systems work together? Here is where things get interesting. The architectural system provides the basic abilities like memory and information processing speed, but the executive system is responsible for making sure you are using these abilities effectively. The executive system helps you decide how to organize your thoughts, how to strategize while solving problems, and how to regulate your own learning processes. For example, let's say you're preparing for an exam really important for you. You might realize that reading notes is not enough, so you decide to make flashcards. This strategy is part of your executive system at work. You are regulating how you learn based on what you have already experienced in the past. Now, let me give you a real-life example of this theory. Imagine you're learning how to play chess. The architectural system would be part of your brain that handles the basic rules and the memory of how each piece moves. But your executive system is what helps you develop strategies over time. As you play more games, you learn tactics, plan your moves ahead, and even predict your opponent's actions. Over time, you get better and better at chess because your executive system is helping you apply all that knowledge you have gained. Now that we have understood how the two systems of intelligence work together, let us talk about how this can help you in your education and learning process. Point number 1, recognizing your strengths and weaknesses. One of the first educational implications is that understanding your own architectural system can help you know your own strengths and weaknesses. If you know that you're better at remembering things visually rather than through reading, you can adapt your learning strategy accordingly. Point number 2, using metacognition. Campione and Brown emphasize the importance of metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. For example, when studying, ask yourself questions like, is this method working for me? How can I improve my understanding of this material? This awareness will help you become a more efficient learner. Point number 3, developing cognitive strategies. Your executive system can be trained and developed. You can learn new cognitive strategies like time management techniques or different problem-solving methods and apply them to your studies. Next, practice and experience matter. Remember, the executive system thrives on experience. The more you practice a skill, like solving math problems or writing essays, the more efficient your brain becomes at handling those tasks. So don't be discouraged by failure. It's all part of training your executive system. Next, independent of culture and training. Your architectural system is independent of things like education or culture, but your executive system is not. This means that everyone can improve their executive functions by learning new strategies regardless of their background. Lastly, Understanding that intelligence can be improved over time should inspire you to study smarter, not harder. Use your executive systems to create personalized learning strategies that works best for you. So that was all on today's class on the dynamic theory of intelligence by Campione and Brown. I hope you liked the video and find it helpful. Please let me know in the comment section. Like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching and see you in the next class.